Okay, I'm going to declare a quorum and call the City of Groton Mayor and Council meeting for Monday, July 1st, 2019 to order. Clerk Patrick, please call the roll.
Present are Mayor Keith Patrick, Deputy Mayor Jamal Beckford, Councilors Lisa McCabe, Reginald Stanford, Guinevere Vico, Minerva Ortiz, Rashad Carter, Finance Director Ryan West, Clerk Deborah Patrick.
Perfect. Okay, please stand for the salute to the flag. Diego, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion to suspend the rules to move resolution R-19-7-94 and R-19-7-95 to immediately following the salute to the flag.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Councilor McCabe.
Resolution R-19-7-94. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the appointment of Nicholas Demko as a firefighter EMT in the City of Groton Fire Department effective July 1st, 2019. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, do you want to go ahead?
Read the next one.
Nope. You ready? Okay, Chief?
All right. Well, I guess we went through that quick. So I'm just going to present to you, we've already met him last week, but Nicholas Demko. He's here tonight. He's brought family and friends. His father, Rich, is here and is going to pin him in a minute. His mother, Judy, his stepfather, George, and his sister, Victoria, along with friends and family and members of the Fairfield Fire Department, where he currently works, and his father works, Chief McCarthy, Deputy Chief Dunn, and other members are here to see him onto his career. Nicholas comes from Shelton, Connecticut, where he graduated high school in 2014. He's a second lieutenant with the White Hills Fire Company. He's an assistant mechanic, as I said, under his father at the Fairfield Fire Department. He attended Gateway Community College, about halfway to his associate's degree. He interrupted that to put himself through the Connecticut Fire Academy recruit class. He graduated last year, recruit class 61, which is a great accomplishment, very hard to do yourself, and shows great initiative. So we're lucky to have him. He comes with the requirements that we put in the advertisement, but also he's firefighter 2, he's hazmat operations, he has rescue corps, and numerous other trainings. And so with that, I present you Nicholas Demko. Come on forward.
Okay. All right, hold on. Council, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Chief? Actually, Clerk Patrick? Is it not on? Okay, now it's on.
All right, if you would please come over here so that you're facing the audience and the camera, and raise your right hand. And I'm going to read the oath, and you will just answer in the affirmative. I, Nicholas Demko, have been duly appointed as a firefighter EMT in the City of Groton Fire Department. I solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge my duties according to the rules and regulations of the Fire Department, the State of Connecticut law, City of Groton charter, and ordinances and resolutions of the City of Groton. I will serve in that position to the very best of my ability, so help me God. And congratulations and welcome aboard.
All right. And where is Dad? Oh, there he is. Come on up. You can pin your son.
We will get pictures now, but also during the break, we will stage pictures so that everybody gets plenty of photographs.
have you, buddy.
Okay. Counselor Sanford.
Resolution 19-7-95. Therefore be resolved that the mayor and council approve the appointment of Joseph Serby as a firefighter EMT in the city of Groton Department effective July 1st, 2019. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Chief?
All right, thank you. Feels like we were just here. We're lucky tonight to be hiring two. It's a great thing for our department and a nice fresh start. Our second firefighter is Joseph Serby. Again, you met him already in executive session, but he comes from Vernon, Connecticut. He graduated from Rockville High School in Vernon. After high school, he joined the United States Army. He was in the Army from 2004 to 2009. He was an MP, and he won the Bronze Star for Valor. So I just, I think, yeah, I'd like to say from everybody here, thank you very much for your service. And everything. Joe is a firefighter engineer of the Rocky Hill Fire Department currently. He works with Rescue 3 out of their Station 3. He's come through the state of Connecticut, actually, multiple jobs. He was a fare inspector. He was a correction officer until they had to lay him off due to budget constraints. And then he currently is a building and grounds patrol officer with the Yukon Medical Center Police Department. Joseph also came with the minimum requirements and then some. He's a firefighter too. He's hazmat operations, and he's heavily certified in rescue operations. He brought a lot of friends from the Rocky Hill Fire Department, including Deputy Chief Richard Walker, who is going to pin him when the time comes. So, Joseph Serby.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Kirkpatrick?
Jeff, if you prefer, if you would stand over there, raise your right hand, please. Oops. I, Joseph Serby, have been duly appointed as firefighter EMT in the City of Groton Fire Department. I solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge my duties according to the rules and regulations of the Fire Department, the State of Connecticut law, City of Groton Charter and ordinances, and resolutions of the City of Groton. I will serve in that position to the very best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
Deputy, come on up.
It's all right if you stand.
Okay, we will now take a 5-minute recess, which will allow the visitors to go out to the passage, the hallway to have cake. And after that, 5 minutes, and council will reconvene for the rest of our council meeting. You can also have pictures and all here. You should do that if you want. So we are now recessed. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting back to order. The next item on the agenda is recognition awards and memorials. Anyone? Okay, we'll go to receipt of citizens petitions comments. Are there any citizens who would like to speak? Okay. Receipt of citizen petitions is a portion of the council meeting where the council welcomes comments from citizens to address the council. Please approach the podium, clearly state your name and address, and speak into the microphone. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less, and citizens should, if possible, submit emailed or written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to the City of Groton. City councilors will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation and can respond during the responses to citizens petitions portion of the meeting. Okay.
Thank you. Daniel Tompkins, 30 South Prospect Street. I'd ask you to ignore the uniform. I am not here to speak on behalf of my position as a city employee, nor am I here to speak on behalf of my position as the union president, but rather as a city resident and as the senior member of the retirement board, which I've served for approximately 20 years. And I'm here to speak on resolution 19-7-97, which involves the non-union employee handbook, and you're asked to accept 2 changes this evening, one of which I would speak in favor of and one which I would strongly speak against. The high deductible health plan, I think, is a valuable plan. I think it serves both the employee and the city and ultimately the taxpayers. And I think that that is something that I would ask that you support. However, the change for new employees to defined benefit 401 type plan, I think is detrimental not only to our potential employees, but to our retirement fund. And as I said, I've served on the board for nearly 20 years, so I have intimate knowledge of how the plan works, how the fund works. And I know that the 401k is the buzzword out there, and I'd ask that you not give in to the rhetoric, that there really is no financial reason to switch into a 401 type plan. City of Groton's pension fund is essentially 100% funded. It has been for a number of years, and that's because it's conservative, it's conservatively invested, it's been well funded. The benefits are conservative. They are not generous beyond our capability to pay for them, which many of the plans across the state and across the country, you see, are in trouble because they're not properly funded. They're mismanaged, and they're more generous than can be supported. The fact that our plan is 100% funded speaks to that. I don't know exactly what the city's percentage of a match is, but I do know that for new employees, between the city workers and the Groton utility workers, police and fire is a little different. They're obviously they're not in this, and they're a little different because we don't receive Social Security, so our funding is a little higher. But city employees and utility employees, you pay somewhere between 5% and 6% of payroll, which means for every $100,000 worth of payroll, the city's paying $5,000 to $6,000 to support their pension. If you compare that to other plans across the state, they're in the 15% to 20%, and those plans, rightfully so, are looking to switch to 401k type plans. I think the savings, if any, will be minimal. I mean, the norm for a 401k type plan is in the 4% to 7% range. So even if we were in again, I don't know the number, if you were at 4% match, you're looking at a 1% savings. And you may say, well, it's a savings and it's some money, but there are risks associated with that. And the plan, as I understand it, says that a participant can't realize a negative return in any one given year. So let's take a hypothetical. In 30 years that this plan's been in place, 30 years in the future, and we have, I don't know, Ron probably has a better idea, maybe about 15 employees we retire a year. So if we have 15 employees who have been here for 30 years, and theoretically will have somewhere in the range of $1 million in their pool. And if the stock market loses 10%, that's $100,000 for all 15 employees that is no longer in the plan, that the city is going to be responsible for. And the plan is going to be negatively affected. And I'll remind you, if you're not aware already, that this is the same plan, the same fund that is paying benefits for current employees, employees that are working today. So there's going to be this, in that instance, a $1.5 million gap. Now, if that was 2008 and we retired about 15 people every year when the stock market lost 37%, that's $370,000 gap for every employee that isn't going to be there. So it has an effect on the city's liability, the city's responsibility. It's going to have an effect, a possible effect on that fund. That fund can very quickly, it's 100% funded now, could very quickly be well underfunded. And then we're in the situation like so many other municipalities, like the state of Connecticut, with such an unfunded liability. I don't want to see the city of Groton be one of those municipalities going to the state to say, we can't pay our bills, we want you to come in, much like West Haven is now, much like Waterbury did. Hartford was nearly there. We can't pay our bills, we can't pay our pension obligations, we want you to come in, take over, essentially take over our city, take over our finances under receivership and an oversight board for a very, at best, a very minimal savings. So I would ask that you reject that proposal, and in the least, do a little more research and see how well funded we are. And instead of letting the people with the money, because it's Wall Street that's pushing people into the 401k, because then they get more and more commissions from all the little people instead of you lose your bargaining power. So don't listen to that. Instead, we should be announcing and proudly stating our pension fund is completely funded, and we pay less than most places pay for a 401k. There's no reason for us to change because we're in a good financial shape when it comes to our pension fund. So I appreciate your time and listening to me. I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do you have a question or do you want to respond?
I actually have a question for you.
A question for me, okay?
Well, a procedural question.
Okay.
If it's gonna, because I really have questions for Ron, so should
Well,
we wait until it comes
We should
up?
wait till the
Okay.
motion's open. Now, you can also, do you have a clarifying question for Dan? If you do, this is, because it says you can ask questions
I do.
in order to clarify the
Dan,
speaker's
would you mind
presentation.
coming back up very quickly?
Doesn't matter.
Thank you for coming up and telling us what you thought about this. You said that this would be detrimental to current employees that have their money pooled, right? So can you explain again how you think this is going to be detrimental to them?
Given the scenario of a year with losses, and again, we'll take 2008, where it's 37%. Even use a hypothetical of 20% loss, and you have 15 employees, so that's $3 million. Now the plan is short $3 million, and if that happens over a number of years, ultimately the plan is going to become underfunded to the point where the city may be in a position where they would have to go to the state, and there's legislation in place already, and say, we need an oversight board to come in. An oversight board would come in and say, well, you were guaranteed, this for a pension, guess what? You're not getting it anymore because the money's not there.
Right. So that couldn't happen today if we had, say, a year that was off, right? You're not going to make any interest on the investment.
We fund it differently. We use a smoothing effect in the pension fund. So we smooth or average out the returns, both positive and negative, over 5 years. So you don't get that sudden drop. You don't also realize the sudden gains, but the smoothing effect helps in that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other clarifying questions? Okay, response to citizens petitions. Are there any responses to the citizens petition? Okay, hearing none, move on to approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the June 17th mayor and council meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, clarifications, corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. I need a motion for the committee of the whole meeting for June 24th, 2019.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, communications and reports. We will, I have Diego Ocasio here tonight to talk about his Eagle Scout project. He came to me on Friday with a proposal, and I wanted him to present it to the council tonight. And Diego, we'll need to get you to the microphone. Yeah, we'll just move the microphone over there. And then that way you can
Are you going to
advance
just
your
give a presentation?
slideshow and speak to the council.
Should I begin now?
Yep, you can set if you want.
All right, so my name is Diego Ocasio. I'm a resident here in Groton, and I'm also a member of Boy Scouts, a part of Troop 13 here in Groton. So I'm here to discuss my Eagle Scout project proposal. So my plan is gonna be over here in Birch Plain Creek. It's up here in Groton, not too far from here. And my idea is to clean up the area, make it look nice. So right here, this is the parking lot of Birch Plain Creek. So it's mostly like gravel rocks, but if you look past, there's mostly forest up there. So my idea is to, get rid of a lot of the garbage and clean up the area, cut grass, trim trees. As you can see here, this is a whole television tube that I found back out there. So it really shows how much cleaning up this place can really use. To find trash like this just sitting around there, untamed, and not been put into, the trash. So this is at the end of the parking lot, right before the trails split off into two directions. You got the one up to the left and one to the right. So my idea is to work on the trail that goes on the right side. My plan is to clear out all the grass, cut the vines, trim the trees, make the trail, walkable, so that visitors and anyone who wants to come visit be able to walk through. So this is what the trail looks like now. This is taken last week. The grass is all tall grass, and a lot of the trees are all now wild and untamed. So what I want to do is clean this area up so people don't have to walk and step over grass, or not have to worry about things like ticks or maybe tripping over a rock. Make this place safe as well. I also plan on planting flowers in the cement circle that they have over there. It's a big cement circle back there. It's been unused for as long as I know. This place is not too far from where I live, so I used to go here all the time as a kid. Walk back there, walk the trails, just enjoy nature. It used to be a lot cleaner than this, so my hopes is that we can get it to look better, or even just as good as it once was. So this is a picture of the cement circle now. When I went down there to take a picture of it, I couldn't find it. It was all covered up with brush and trees and grass, making it harder to find. But eventually I did find it, and I had to raise my hands up higher just so I could get the photo of what it looks like inside over there. So as you can see here, there's trees right along, which is right alongside the path, and then there's a bunch of roots and trees growing within it, a bunch of weeds. So my hope is to get rid of this, maybe put some dirt and plant some flowers, make the place actually nice, and use up the cement circle so that it's not just there for no reason. These are some more pictures. As you can see, there's also a fallen tree. Hope to maybe cut it up, you know, get rid of the wood to make the area a little cleaner so people don't have to trip over it, get themselves hurt when they're out there. But yeah, so that's what I plan on doing with this project. Hope that you take this into consideration or take a look at what this area is, and hopes that you like my idea. And yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Hold on. Council, questions, comments?
I have one question.
Mm.
When do you anticipate starting, and how long do you think it would take for you to accomplish this?
So my hopes is to get it done sometime this summer, in hopes maybe July 20th, sometime around the middle of this month. I don't think it should take too long. I think maybe a week at most. Yes.
After you're done with that, can you come to my house? Taking a week at most.
Especially if you're planting flowers, it'll take some.
I'm being serious, but anyway, I do have a real question.
Go ahead.
Councilor
Carter.
I honestly didn't know that was like, that's city property?
Burst Plain Creek is city property.
And is that on Thomas Road?
Yeah.
It's on Thomas
To the left
Road.
over there?
Second?
To the left?
When
If
you,
go
when you,
right.
when you,
into Groton Town, it's to the left.
yes, just
Oh, wow.
before the bridge.
And who's supposed to maintain that?
It falls under Parks and Rec. One of the questions that Diego asked me on Friday was who will maintain this afterwards. And I talked to Parks and Rec Director Mary Hill today, and this falls under Parks, so it falls under her group. But with the amount of work that they have, sometimes it's difficult. So what we end up doing is you have an Eagle Scout project like this, and then for the annual maintenance, we'd go out with calls or call local troops to help them come back and just keep it cleaned up, and our guys could help too. But we have limited staff and a lot of work that goes on
Yeah.
ourselves as well.
Typically, I know, I mean, I grew up in the other side of town, but like we would go to Bluff Point, which is like a much bigger.
Sure.
But a lot of that, with the pass, you know, the trails is from wear and tear. That's people actually going there, you know.
Right.
So I think something that maybe we need to do is, once you clean it up, we need to actually get people there, and that'll take care of itself naturally, you know.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted Diego here tonight is to show you before pictures. And then we'll show you after pictures. And not only is this basically a declaration of what his project is, but it's also basically a call to arms. So if you're out there in the audience watching this show, if you're interested in helping, let the mayor's office know, and we will get you in touch with Diego so that we'll have the people power that we need to do this. And if you have tools that you could bring with you to help clear this, all the better. Any other? Go ahead.
So you showed Diego, you showed a picture of a tube TV out there. Do you know how to properly dispose of a tube TV?
Not exactly. I would assume just take it out and bring it to the dump.
That's what I would do.
Right.
Well, one of the things that when we met, one of the questions I said is, how can I help you? Right? And one of the ways is if they find multiple sources like this, they can bring them out to the edge. I'll either bring them here so we can dispose of them properly, or I'll take them to the transfer station and dispose of them properly. And then if we have, if you find any other foreign materials out there, we'll take it and dispose of it. And if we have large amounts of brush, we can also put that aside and get that picked up and get that properly disposed. So there will be a little bit of a collaboration.
Sure. No, I just know that we just had a joint meeting where we went over how to properly dispose some of this stuff, so maybe we could help Diego out with that.
Absolutely.
But I think this is a great project. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Councilman
just
Carey?
wanted to say that when you finish your project, make sure you let us know, and we'll come and walk on that trail and start tramping down that trail.
Will do.
I
Absolutely.
volunteer.
Anything else for Diego? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Good
time.
job.
Thanks for coming out, and good luck to you. Okay, communication report, Councilor McCabe.
Yes, I attended the 2019 Groton Adult Education graduation on the 20th of June, and I wanted to say congratulations to the graduates. Also, on the 23rd of June, we had a home dedication ceremony for for Humanity here in the city, and I was really honored to be invited to that and impressed by all the generous love and giving that people involved had shown to the family that received the home or purchased the home. And lastly, I wanted to mention that the joint city town council meeting that Councilmember Jamal just mentioned is definitely worth watching if you want to catch it on YouTube from June 25th. It was very informative and interesting presentation on recycling by the SCRRA organization, as well as the interactive presentation by our Mayor Hendricks on the effect of flushing different types of materials and what the effect it has on our sewage pipes. So check it out. That's all I had.
Thank you. Councilor Danforth?
I also attended the adult education graduation and the home dedication in the city of Groton.
Okay, good. Councilor Depot?
I attended on Saturday, June 29th, the ceremony at the beach to rededicate the benches, which was really nice, and there were several family members there of people whose benches had been vandalized. And just want to say thank you again to everyone that has donated or helped get those back up and running. It obviously was awful what happened, but we're getting on top of it and making things right.
Absolutely. Councilor Ortiz?
Nothing to report.
Councilor Carter?
Nothing to report.
Deputy Mayor Becker?
Yes, I attended the adult education graduation at Westside, and that was a really good event. And there was something that maybe you had said, Mayor, that it's never too late, and the hardest step is just kind of walking through the door. So I thought that was really good advice to anybody that was there in the audience or anybody that needs to hear it. It's never too late to start. June 23rd, I went to the Habitat for Humanity dedication for the Carabellis family. So welcome to Groton. June 25th, I attended the joint town and city meeting at the Town Hall Annex. That was informative. And then June 29th, I went to the memorial bench restorations at Eastern Point Beach. And it was good. It's good to get those benches back up there and just kind of show, the people that we care. So.
Finance Director Yost?
Nothing to report.
Clerk Deb Patrick?
Nothing.
I want to, on the bench ceremony, it was a great opportunity for us to come together as a community and heal. There was an outpouring of support and sympathy over the loss of the benches. We have 4 of them back. The others are going to be coming back pretty soon as we finish repairing them. And I want to make sure that I recognize Parks and Rec Director Mary Hill and her staff for retrieving them, for fixing them and returning them back to their place. Public Works also assisted in the retrieval. So it was a team effort to get them out of the water and get them back up on land, and then the Parks and Rec team took it from there. So thank you very much. We have a parade on Thursday. What time does that start?
Starts at 9. I mean, it starts at 10, but they want you to be at the park by 9:15.
So we need to catch the bus at the post office, and then that'll take us down to Quantic Plains Park, and then we will walk this way. Who do we think is going to be there? Who's going to be there? I'll be there. Okay. We're going to have some of the park kids, rec kids carry the banner, and then are we still doing candy?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody has their shirts, light colored shorts.
Bring a
And
canvas
bring-
bag to
Say again?
carry the candy.
Right, bring a canvas bag to hold the candy and also
And does someone
bring
have-
some water.
Does someone have Mary said if we get a wagon here by Friday, she'll have it in the truck for us, along with all the candy.
Okay? So
I
we
don't
need to
know.
find a wagon,
I don't know who has, I know Celeste
I
has.
have one.
okay? All right, committee referrals. Are there any committee referrals?
Here by Friday. Where
Okay.
to?
Continuing on with new business, Deputy Mayor Becker, R-19-7-96.
R-19-7-96. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize a contract with BL Companies, 355 Research Parkway, Meriden, Connecticut, for services related to gateways to the city of Groton, conceptual streetscape design for the purposes of promoting the Economic Development Commission's Welcome to the City initiative at the following gateways: 1, Mayor Circle, and 2, Clarence B. Sharp, for a fixed fee of $14,000.00. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We discussed this during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. And then resolution 97, please use the one that I passed out.
Resolution R-19-7-97. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council review and approve the amendments, revisions outlined in the non-union employee handbooks and non-union management handbook. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. On discussion, I want to, this was at your places, there was one change that we wanted to clarify during the committee of the whole. We had a clarifying discussion on the application of the high deductible health plan. And basically it's for new hires. It'll start for new hires after July 1st. And then for current employees, it'll start July 1st, 2020. So there was, the reason that we wanted to change this was to make sure that we clarified when it started for and for which group. Now, do you want to talk about it? You have questions?
Yeah, I've got
She
questions.
doesn't wanna, okay.
Go ahead,
Um,
Councilor Depot.
well, my first question, thank you, Mayor. My first question is, and I think that we might have talked about this at the committee of the whole, but I wanted to have you reiterate it. What precipitated the decision to
Yeah.
change the
Yeah.
plan? The retirement plan?
That is my question too.
I am.
Mine too.
So, one of the challenges that we face in municipal leadership and as counselors and as the mayor is our responsibilities to our taxpayers. And one of the things that you're seeing municipalities go to, which private industries have gone to in a while, is they're going away from defined benefits more towards something like a defined contribution. This specific plan is called a cash balance plan. It's not really a 401k. But it has aspects of a defined benefit and aspects of a defined contribution. The city will contribute and the employee will contribute. In typical 401ks, you get that money and then you manage that money. So the individual is responsible for managing their money and their assets, and if it does well, it does well. If it doesn't, it doesn't. In this particular case, the cash balance plan will be managed just like our other retirement plan is. So there is no difference in the way that it's managed. So your question is, why did we do this? One of the challenges is there's not an immediate payback on this. So when you get a payback, the actuaries have said payback is around 10 to 15 years when you start to get a solid payback, but the payback comes when the individual retires. When the individual retires, the money will then go to an annuity that is given to that individual, and then they walk away and they are responsible for their retirement. The citizens of the taxpayers of Groton are no longer responsible for that employee's retirement. So if you are in a defined benefit, we are responsible for employees' retirement until they die. In this case, the cash balance, once they retire, they take that money and then that's their money, and they live off that. However they invest that, how they spend it is how they spend it. The city is not continuing to pay. So that is one of the challenges that all municipalities are facing. It is a challenge that the state is facing, and that is one of the reasons that it was important to me to get individuals in a cash balance plan. We have 8 unions. This is in discussion in various stages with the unions. With the public safety guys, meaning police and fire, the police is locked out for 2 more years, so we can't discuss pension. There is an open negotiation with the fire, so I'll be careful about what I say with that. But one of the things, I've backed off the cash balance plan for the fire department for this negotiating period, because when I talked to Captain Tompkins and we looked at the actuarial tables, it was not necessarily good for the firefighters. And part of that is because they don't pay Social Security. And so they don't have that extra cushion that's in there. So one of the things that I'm looking to do is get through this negotiation, and then in 2 years, that gives me an opportunity to look for a pension plan that is suitable for public safety unions, and that is good for the union and is good for the taxpayers. Because that's one of the things that I am charged with doing, is to try to minimize the tax burden, not only now, but down the road. For the other unions, we are continuing to work on the high deductible and the cash balance plan. So one of the things we try to do here, if you do it for one, you do it for all. So the town has already gone to the high deductible and the cash balance for their non-union, and then when their unions go up for their negotiations, they will probably bring it up. We, due to whatever reason, a series of events, I'm not gonna get into that, we kind of did it a little backwards. So this is an opportunity to get us on the same page. So now both our unions and non-unions will have the same benefits. So does that answer, whose question was that?
Mine,
Okay, does that answer your question?
kind of.
Okay,
Can I ask another one?
sure.
So the precipitating thing is that we're trying to save money down the road, right?
Yes,
Okay.
well, it's not just saving money. I mean, I still want to offer the employees a fair retirement plan.
Is there like a schedule of how much money that saves us once it starts saving us money? Or anticipate
We can
savings?
get Bill to do that.
Well, the actuaries,
I don't know
Yeah.
if he did it for the non-union group as just
Oh,
a
you're right.
separate
He-
piece. I think he did
right.
it as a whole and certain other pieces, but we can have Bill put that together. I think we've been using
Right.
a 10 or a
because
20 or-
we've been looking at the individual union groups. That's correct. Go ahead, Councilor Carter.
I think the key thing that Mr. Tompkins was stating is that it's fully funded, so there's no current problems with issuing out any pension plans, right? And I understand what you're saying as far as, maybe preventative measures from going down, like in the future. But my question to you would be, or you, do you see any, has a pension fund for the city of Groton ever been in disarray, or are we at like the threshold of, do you see it actually being a problem if you kept it the way it is? Because I know with the state and the state and everything, you mentioned the state and there's a lot of towns that are moving to this, but those are also towns that where their pension fund, their pensions aren't funded, which is absolutely correct. You know, is this more of a not hop on the bandwagon, but is it more of do we have to do this?
Well, the pension plan is fully funded because the city over the course of the years has been very responsible in that.
Yeah.
Just because it's fully funded doesn't mean you don't want to look for other options and other savings. That just means that we've paid in throughout the years like we were supposed to, like the actuary said. We didn't balance our budget based on the pension and not putting those contributions in. So the question is, just because it's fully funded, does that mean we keep with the expense going forward, or do we look for the savings as the mayor was talking about,
Gotcha.
or potential savings?
So,
Deputy Mayor.
I have a question. So when you talk, Mayor, you talked a lot about risk, right? Offloading risk from the city to, you know, the employees. But I guess my question is, because Dan brought it up, is this about risk? Is this about savings? Is this about both? Like, I guess I would just like to know, because he mentioned, like, are we gonna save like 1% if we're just not funding this? Like, is this about 1%, or is this about risk, right? And I know, you know, Director of HR Avedizian, she didn't have those numbers, those percentages, the matches, you know, defined yet. But I guess I would like to know, you know, like, what's the bottom line, like?
And what that 1 to 2% is a total payroll. So just so you know what we're talking as far as what that percentage is based off of. The actuary uses the total payroll calculation to come up with the contribution. So that's what that is. I don't know the number offhand again. We didn't have that one split out. And I know the other piece of it going to the risk and what Mr. Tompkins said about there being a basement on it, or the zero that the employee can't lose money. There's also a ceiling on it. So there would be a high end. So if for some reason the pension lost money 1 year, and so it'd still be a zero, so the employee wouldn't be at harm of losing the investment. However, if the return is over a certain threshold, they're capped out. So it kind of works both directions. That's the thought process. Will it ever even out? I mean, I can't tell you that. It's truly based on the market.
Will that still work in this new plan, right?
And that's what the new plan does. It has that. Right now, what happens is, with a defined benefit, the actuarially determined contribution is put into the plan based on what the actuary looks at the plan as a whole, projects out all the retirements, and says, all right, you need to fund the plan X amount of dollars. And then the smoothing piece that Mr. Thompson was talking about is that from the actuarial standpoint, if there's a significant loss or a significant gain, it gets spread out over 10 years. So if you have a significant loss this year, next year's actuarially determined contribution isn't a large number to make up for that loss, and then vice versa. If there's a significant gain, it doesn't drop. So it smooths out that contribution. So that's what he was referring to. I don't know if that helps her.
Okay.
So do both plans do the smoothing?
From the actuarial contribution, they will. What the money will be, it's assigned, with the new plan, it's assigned to an individual. However, all the money is invested as part of the pension trust fund itself. So that's where, like the mayor was talking, there's not individual investments, individual employees investing their own money. The pension board, retirement board will still oversee all of the funds.
Councilor Sanford.
So the cash balance plan is only effective for new employees that
Yes.
start as of today.
Right.
So if anybody retire, like say September 30th, they're not going to be affected by this because they already, and this is only for non-union employees at this time.
Correct.
Well, right, but that's correct. This is for non-union employees. In the negotiations with the unions, none of them have been none of these we have a couple of TAs, but none of them have been ratified yet. But I'm not asking members who have previously negotiated defined benefit to renegotiate for a defined contribution. I'm not asking them to do that. What I'm asking for is for new employees. That the new employees, because this is what they will know. The other guys are saying, wait a minute, I was promised, or this is what we negotiated, or are you coming after me? And my answer to them all along has been, I do not intend to negatively impact defined benefits that have been previously negotiated prior to me. I am looking at new employees only on a go-forward basis. Councilor Depot.
Can you explain why or why not it would be the case that the new plans, if they lost a bunch of money, would they or would they not affect
The funding,
current pension plans that are already funded?
it's not going into, it wouldn't be going into the fund.
Right.
That's what that's what Mr. Tompkins was saying, that it could affect their pension because you have new employees now bringing the money to the pension fund. That's what I took from that.
If the plan loses money, the city's gonna need to fund it no matter what. As the plan itself. The difference being is that the new employees who are in the cash balance plan, if it goes below that floor, that zero over a certain amount of years, that would be a shortfall that needs to be made up. And then however, if the plan goes over the ceiling over a number of years, that's excess that goes back to the plan. So I know the question, but it's hard to project what the future's gonna have, as far as investments.
Councilor Depot.
I think that my concern with it would be that so far we seem to have been pretty conservative and our pension is fully funded. So it seems like we're taking a bit of a risk and putting at risk the benefits of current people, even though that's clearly not the intention, but it is what we're doing. And I've always felt like the city should be able to offer some better benefits to draw people to work for the city when, you know, our pay rates aren't maybe as high as the private sector, some of our benefits might be better. I worry about changing benefits to something that's less appealing to new hires and will make it harder to hire people.
And they may pick us over somebody who's in a 401k or that type of pension.
So that's my,
Okay.
Useful.
Councilor
I'm
Depot.
sorry.
No, go ahead,
Is
please.
it possible to move this to another meeting so that we can get the numbers?
I move that we
Yeah.
move this to another meeting.
I was,
And I'd like to
Second.
see
I was gonna
HR Director Avedisian and Director Uhas. Maybe we can discuss this at length at another meeting. That'd be great.
Okay. so-
What information, I know we talked about the projection for the new hires in the city, is there anything else, just so we can gather all of the information, so,
Sure. I guess if we could have a couple scenarios too. right?
Risk.
You know, so let's say we have 6 years of economic downturn across the board. What does that do to, you know, what in the future, right? If that starts this year and 6 years from now, what does that look like for our folks that are currently in the plan as it currently exists? And what does that do to our new people? And I think it's just I think I'd just like to see that and try and figure that out from there.
it would have no effect on the current employees with their pension. I mean, it's just that the liability that the city would need to make up that commitment to fund those pensions is truly based on contractual. Worst case scenario, that it goes into receivership. I mean, I think we're a long way from there, and that's a pretty extreme example. But, I mean, we can definitely get this information
Okay.
together.
So do you want to move this to another council meeting, or do you want to move it to a special committee of the whole before the council meeting on the 15th?
Could always-
I guess,
Counselor Depot?
I don't know if we have anything for group meetings, but if we don't have anything on it, do we have stuff on the agenda for group meetings that you know?
Well, they're your agendas. You need to tell me whether you have anything that you
Well,
wish
I only
to
have one
discuss.
agenda, so
Okay.
I don't know everyone. Because if we don't have anything on agendas for group meetings, we could move it, we could have special count next Monday.
Well, I don't, with the short week,
Might
Oh,
not be
true.
able to-
Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday,
There's
do you?
probably not enough time to get the information.
I was just
Just
thinking
move it to a different thing, and we can just, somebody can just go to, executive session or something.
Let me reach out,
Can
let
you
me
be ready
reach
by the
out.
15th?
I'm not gonna promise that, but let me reach out in the morning to see if it's doable, to get the information from the actuary that's being asked of. And then I should know hopefully by tomorrow afternoon, and then if we can send an email or.
So following parliamentary procedure, the proper way is to move it to another date, another
Yes.
meeting. So how do we get there from here? We're not gonna use table, because that's not the right use of table.
The other question would be also is this is gonna affect those new hires? Because they didn't sign up for anything yet. Would that sign, would this,
Is the
would not voting on
plan-
this?
They're
They're
unionized.
under,
They're union.
they're under the fire
Okay.
union.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, it doesn't impact them.
So,
Yeah, I just want to understand what the gain of making this switch outweighs the risk to any of the people involved, so. However we show that.
so I move that we move this item, R 19-797, to a meeting tentatively held, what, the 15th of July?
Yeah. So the question is, do you want to move it
Second.
to committee of the whole meeting, special committee of the whole, or do you want to move it to a council meeting? Because if you move to committee of the whole, special committee of the whole, you have your time to discuss, deliberate, debate, and then the following meeting right after that, we would have a council meeting. Or do you want to bring it up as a resolution and discuss it during the council meeting? Councilor Depot.
I think we should have a cow before the council meeting on the 15th.
Okay, so we'll move it to special committee of the whole
Let's say it's 7 o'clock.
on 7/15.
What if I cannot get that information in time?
Uh,
I don't wanna waste everybody's time if we can't,
You're
if
right,
Bill's on
because-
vacation or something, and
well, we could
That gives us enough
we
time to
could
do our
move it
homework.
we could
as
move
well.
it to the regular committee of the whole meeting on the 22nd, and then take it to the August council meeting. Does that give you a little more time?
I mean, I'll try to get, I just don't, I'm not knowing Bill's schedule, and then, like you
Sure.
said,
No,
with the
I
holiday,
understand.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's in or out, or.
Just push it out, it's fine. It's the holidays anyway.
Are you not comfortable with, but okay with 22nd?
That's fine.
Okay, so I'll need a motion,
We had a motion, I need a second.
well, for the 22nd for the cow.
I so move for the
Okay.
22nd.
And we have a second,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Any further discussion? Ain't hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Just as a reminder, on the 15th, we'll be having FOI training, so it's actually good that we moved it to the 22nd. All right, where are we? Councilor Depot, 98? No, Councilor Ortiz, 98.
Therefore, be resolved that the mayor and council authorize a contract with International Code Council, 900 Montclair Road, Birmingham, Alabama, for third-party plan review of documents pertaining to the General Dynamic Electric Boat South Yard Assembly Building in the amount not to exceed $70,000 $1,000,000 to be paid from fiscal year 2020 Building and Zoning Department General Support Contractual Services. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? We discussed this during the, we did not discuss it. This is brought up,
This is brought up due to a timeliness issue on the contracts. So Electric Boat has finally given us a firm date when they'll be bringing the plans in for the, what we call the foundation down on the 10th of July, which then is a stamp date. By statutes, I have 30 days to produce a permit or write in a denial and reason whys behind it. You know, we're talking for just this foundation probably rolls about this big. They're tremendous size drawings, and that they need to be sent out to a third-party plan review. They called last week for the invoice for this, not for this piece of it, but for the building permit. The foundation down was $145 million for just the foundation, which is equivalent to a $2.2 million permit, which is what we budgeted. If you remember, my budget kind of exponentially went up huge. We knew that on there, but we also had exponentially put in contractual services, and that's why we're for this to be drawn out of there. It's a real timing issue because of what statute says, and when it's all based on the day they bring them in. I have 30 days from that date to make this happen. With us just getting the information last Thursday, Friday, we're scrambling with our contractors, our vendors, to come up with these numbers.
Councilor Depot.
So just to clarify, make it a little simpler, so we're expecting $2.2 million of income, but we need to spend $35,000 to help us get these permits reviewed.
That's correct, and we'll be expecting more money in November. Remember, that would now be the building up
Right.
at that point on there. I've requested $70,000 because of the changes in plans that will happen, and we're gonna have a building up piece of this too, so there'll be multiple reviews going on. Not all of this it's just they even had to tailor back themselves. They couldn't get the rest of the foundation in. There's another building that goes against this building. It's worth around $8 million that they couldn't get done in design yet. So that's gonna be coming in a little further. So we're trying to plan that money ahead of time so we're not keep coming back on these timeliness issues hitting you, not in the committee of the whole, but you know, at the mayor and council. We're trying to cover those pieces right now just for this new construction, what we're calling the South Yard Assembly area.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor Carter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
79? No, 99, I mean? Sorry. Jeez.
You're good.
R-19-7-99, therefore be resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to purchase services from Corporate Mailing Services, P.O. Box 242, Trumbull, Connecticut, for outsourced mailing service in the amount not to exceed $110.00 to be paid from funds available in the approved fiscal year 2020 electric, water, sewer, operation, and capital budgets. I so move.
Can we just amend that? Can you read back the costs, the amount not to exceed one more time?
Did I mumble? I believe I said it right.
Go ahead and do it again.
$110,000 in no cents.
Okay,
What did I say before?
sounded like 110,
Mhm.
not 1,000.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We discussed this during the committee of the whole. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor McCain.
Resolution 19-7-100. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to purchase services for online payments from Paymentus Group Incorporated, 13024 Ballantyne Corporate Place, Suite 450, Charlotte, North Carolina, an amount not to exceed $165,000 and no cents to be paid from funds available in the approved fiscal year 2020 electric, water, and sewer operating capital budgets. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We discussed this during the committee of the whole. Any further discussion?
I did talk to Tina about some of the questions, so she will be here on July 22nd at the COW to discuss an update with the auto pay as well as e-bills.
Cool.
So we
Thank
kind of had a brief conversation about that, so she knows that you're interested in it.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor Stanford.
Resolution 19-7-101. Therefore, be resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to purchase annual maintenance and support for the period from July 1, 2019 through June 30th, 2020 for the Springbrook Acela financial accounting system as used by the City of Groton, Groton Utilities, and Boswell Light and Power Company, Company Electric, from the sole source provider Springbrook and Acela Company, Acela Incorporated, 4375 Solutions Center, Chicago, Illinois, 60677-4003, for the amount not to exceed $56,253.00 to be paid from funds available in the approved fiscal year 2020 Groton Utilities Finance and Accounting budget. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We discussed this during the committee of the whole. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Deputy Mayor Becker.
Resolution R-19-7-102. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to issue a purchase order to Halberg Electric, 14 Quaker Ridge Road, Bethel, Connecticut, to replace 3 aging traffic light fixtures and controllers on Thames Street in Groton, Connecticut, as recommended by management as the lowest of 3 responsible bidders, an amount not to exceed $112,359.00 to be paid from funds in the fiscal year 2016 electric bond fund and electric approved fiscal year 2020 electric budget. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We discussed this during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I think there was I think Reggie had a question on this one.
In regards to the unit that was, silver boxes that was on the side of the road.
So I did talk to Mark Byron, the GM, and he was, those are the control boxes, so he did think that there was work going to be done, but he wasn't sure as far as the extent or if they were going to, it didn't sound like they were going to be removed or anything like that, but it sounded like that was part of the project, that there would be work done in those control boxes.
Okay.
Councilor Ortiz.
Are we sure if we go for the lights and then it happens that we need more money for the controllers?
No, this is all, the project's all inclusive for those lights.
Any other questions or comments on this motion? Any hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. We, Councilor Depot.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 19-7-103, therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to purchase 1-year safety consulting services from AZ Corporation, 46 Norwich Westerly Road, North Stonington, Connecticut, in an amount not to exceed $133,584.00 to be paid from funds available in the approved fiscal year 2020 electric and water divisions operating and capital budgets. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor Ortiz.
Resolution R-19-7-104. Therefore, be resolved that the mayor and council approve the placement of a bench at Eastern Point Beach in honor of Club 55 at the Groton Senior Center in accordance with the procedures for consideration of Beach and Parks Memorial and approved by the mayor and council. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor Carter.
R-19-7-105, correct?
Yes.
Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the placement of a memorial bench at Eastern Point Beach in honor of Lucille Kelly in accordance with the procedures and consideration of beach and parks memorials as approved by the mayor and council. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed in committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor McKay.
Resolution 17-7-106, therefore be it resolved that the City Council approve the reappointment of Robert Austin LaFrance, 207 Plant Street, Groton, Connecticut, as a regular member of the Harbor Management Commission, term to expire on April 5th, 2024. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor Stanford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 19-7-107. Therefore, be resolved that the mayor and council approve the reappointment of Gerard Keller, 45 Ramsdale Street, Groton, Connecticut, as a regular member, Planning and Zoning Commission, term to expire June 30th, 2022. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Deputy Mayor.
Resolution R-19-7-108. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council reappoint Andre Bumgardner, 584 F Shinnecock Road, Groton, Connecticut, as a regular member, Planning and Zoning Commission, term to expire June 30th, 2022. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. There is no executive session, therefore there are no comments. Take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We are adjourned.